Let's speak to Jonathan Ports, who's a professor of economics at King's College London. Joins me now live. Jonathan, good to have you with us. So first of all, what do you make of this delay of the vote? Do you think that this will help Mrs May and that she will be able to get some kind of concession from the EU which will give further reassurances to MPs?
Well, at the moment, it looks pretty unlikely. The EU have made clear that as far as they're concerned, the legal text of the withdrawal agreement is fixed. So they may be happy to give her some political assurances, some words of comfort, assurances, as you said, that nobody really wants the backstop to have to be invoked, that everyone will do their best to avoid it. But that's no longer really what most of those who object to this deal are looking for. They're looking for changes to the withdrawal agreement, and at the moment the EU is very clear that she's not going to get that. So given that, it's very difficult to see where she goes from here.
Yeah, I mean, how credible do you think her position is at the moment? We heard from the opposition Labour leader, Jeremy Corbyn, saying, if you can't negotiate the right deal, then you have to step aside, and other senior politicians now agitating for a no-confidence vote in Mrs May.
Well, I think her position is indeed far from credible. Remember, we had just this morning at about 8 o'clock, I heard one of her most senior cabinet ministers, Michael Gove, saying there was absolutely no question about delaying this vote. It wasn't going to happen. The vote was definitely going ahead. A few hours later, and she's done a U-turn. That clearly means that she doesn't really have much credibility. And I think most importantly, this isn't about credibility with the opposition, credibility with her own side. The one thing that really is saving her and propping her up at this point is that it's not clear that there's anybody else in Parliament who commands a majority for taking these negotiations forward. Certainly Jeremy Corbyn doesn't, and it's not clear that anybody else does either. So that's sort of keeping her afloat for the moment. Not that she's credible, but that really nobody else has an alternative just yet.
There's also pressure for a second referendum. We had the ruling from the European Court of Justice saying that the UK can cancel Brexit if it changes its mind. Is a second referendum at this point a possibility, and how would you square that with democratic principles?
It certainly is a possibility. I would not say it's a probability. There's some big obstacles, both in Parliament and at practicalities, before we get to a second referendum. But it's certainly a lot more of a possibility than it was a few months or even a few weeks ago. As for democratic principles, well, this is a hard one. You have to remember that referenda are not a terribly well-established part of British democracy anyway. We are a parliamentary democracy traditionally. Referenda are exceptional things. It was quite exceptional to have one in the first place. If we had another one, that would be even more exceptional. But in circumstances like this, I suspect many MPs would say that rules, or at least precedents, are made to be broken.